Call the New York City Transit October committee meeting to order. We'll get started with our public safety announcement, excuse me.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thanks so much. Let's move on to our public speakers.
Good morning. We have 16 members of the public register to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA rules of conduct and decorum, including speaking on topic. We will hear 30 minutes of public comment speakers in the room, after which we will transition to a separate live recording session. Recorded comments will be distributed to the MTA board and posted to our board meeting webpage and YouTube channel. I would also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and in fairness to all speakers, we limit everybody to 2 minutes. Please be aware there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. The first speaker will be Jason Anthony, followed by John Padula.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Anthony, the Transit Guru. I want to start off congratulating Demetrius Critchlow on his 1-year anniversary being the president of New York City Transit.
You stole my thunder, Jason.
Yes. Sorry about that, Haida. And at the same time, today's the 121st anniversary of our New York City subway as well. I want to say that I'm glad to be a New Yorker using the system every single day for the past 10 years. I cannot be more glad to be part of the MTA family, even though that is from the outside. A couple of things I want to address. We are somewhat heartbroken from the federal government that they want to ditch away the 34th Street busway. I use the M34 Select Bus Service and the M34A Select Bus Service every time I go to a doctor's appointment at the NYU Langone Hospital on First Avenue. I don't take the buses. Let's say I rather take the bus than walking, but sometimes the NYPD traffic division control the lights and sync the traffic lights themselves instead of controlling the traffic lights manually. At the same time, we wish that more people take the subway because every month the subway and bus break records. It is obvious that New York City transports over 8 million riders. So let's take the subway and bus more often than driving. So Demetrius, again, congratulations.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be John Padula, followed by Jessica Spezio.
Gotcha. Hold on. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Padula. I am an administrator with Educational Vision Services from New York City Public Schools. I'm also a member of the Advisory Committee for Transit Accessibility. So, since we're celebrating things today, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and this year the focus is recognizing value and talent. Value and talent. I'd like to recognize that I know this room is filled with value and talent. And I'm going to ask the same question I've been asking. If you had to do your job, if you had to function the way you currently do, would you be able to do that with our current paratransit system, where 30 minutes late is still deemed on time, where there is no reasonable level of same-day flexibility and autonomy? Things are getting better. We have to keep moving that needle. And I'm tired of hearing about why we can't and what we can't do. I want to have conversations about what we can do. You know, I was with a friend this weekend, and it was so sad. He says to me, you know, I ran out of e-hail vouchers. I needed a lot for work. Why should that impinge on somebody's personal life? And, you know, I hear it. Apply for a reasonable accommodation at work, and yeah, just another hoop. As disabled people, all we deal is with is hoops and jumping through hoops. I'm tired of jumping through hoops. I don't want to be a circus clown. I'm tired of it. Let's have these conversations. E-hail is sustainable. I haven't heard anything about the phase 3 data, so it can't be that bad. If it was horrific, we would have heard all about it, how it's inducing cost and how all the issues with it. We got through phase 1. Phase 3 is working. It's sustainable. Let's have these conversations. We need to roll it out to more people, and there needs to be a third group for those of us that have demonstrated need. We can do this reasonably, ethically, in a way that makes a difference in our city. My name is John Padula. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Our next speaker is Jessica Spezio, followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Spezio, representing the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA PCAC. Today is a big day for the subway. It's the 121st anniversary. Happy birthday to the backbone of our transit system, city, and entire region. As a former subway conductor, I saw every day how important it was to the lives of millions of New Yorkers, whether it was young kids excited to hear the subway announcements or people depending on transit to get to work in the morning. It's a major part of what makes our city great. That's why it's so important that transit continues to get investment and upgrades so that generations to come can keep depending on the subway system. We were thrilled that the billionth Rider of the Year came earlier than in previous years, and this past Thursday set a post-pandemic record with 4.56 million riders. Both are great signs that people are returning to transit as it gets safer, more reliable, and faster. We hope that more ridership milestones will be met as we approach the busy holiday season and people turn to transit instead of driving. As we get ready to say goodbye to the MetroCard, we're happy to see the partnerships launched last week celebrating such an iconic piece of transit history on its farewell tour. We know that in time, the Omni card will rise to its level, especially now that 87% of riders are tapping instead of swiping. We're glad that many of the initial issues with Omni are being fixed so that the system is fully ready in the new year. Congrats to Demetrius on your first year at the helm of New York City Transit. Happy 121st birthday to the subway and many more in the future. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Iris Kelly.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Haida Halsis and members. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. I have some subway for you. Kind of looks like BART, People's System in California. I'm going to share about Omni first. I'm really looking forward to the new changes that we're going to make with Omni come January 1. But there was a software load that happened earlier this month. And I have a close family of member of mine who is over 65, gets reduced fare, and there's been some problems with the registered travel card being blocked. I think it's been fixed, but we have to find out how we can get past the after effects of this software load. So I want everybody to have the confidence in using Omni, because I want on 1 January to really move in with this. So I'm not going to sign or lay blame, but we just have to be focused on making sure that Omni works as intended and exceeds expectations. Thank you. Yes, I read that and heard that today is the birthday of the subway. And Yeah, to think that when I enter into the original 1904 system, that I am setting foot in facilities that are 121 years old. That's a system that I used a lot in my younger years and still use to this day when I'm in New York. How do we go forward? We have to continue to work on our subway. But it's not just about doing work and practicing our crafts and technical expertise. Always have to remember that the subway is a system that is legendary and stately, steeped in tradition and mindful of history.
Please conclude
Thank
your
you.
remarks. Thank you. Our next speaker is Iris Kelly, followed by Susan Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. For the Cessna ride, they need to let's see, have be better with pickup times. Wait, no, sorry. No, we need the on demand for everybody, not just some. 'Cause I know I've been in problems with it for a job, even just like things that they go somewhere, things change, and I need to be able to do it for my own self the time to be picked up, and not have to worry about being picked up for a time slot that they give me. It'd be easy sometimes to do it that way, because I have things to do many times when I need that. And the other thing too is with the accessory vouchers, do not take these away. These come from my job to pay that we get direct pre-tax dollars that we spend for our money to get these, and it's much more accessible, easy for us to use. And it'd be a shame if you take this away. It's money-wise being used. It helps them to pay too. But it's been coming a long way so far, and it's hard to believe 120 years in subway already. That's amazing. Wow, and came a long way for it, that's for sure. And that I just keep it going. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susan Honor, followed by Monique Johnson.
Good morning. My name is Honore, Honore. Is Mr. Jano here today? Oh, okay. That's who I was actually looking for. I actually met him at the Fulton Street station, and he gave me his card, and I misplaced it. But when I leave here later on, if someone could have someone in the office give me somewhere I could contact. There's a couple of things I want to say. I'm going to go shorter than 2 minutes. But I just want you guys to know that I understand the dynamics of every check that goes here comes through Uncle Sam. The system is Uncle Sam, and we respect all of you. Who gets what, that's really here nor there. My main concern is our safety. I'm a rider. All these people are riders. And one of the main things that's happening is that you're getting manipulated by a young lady that works with a lot of these agencies. Her name is Brianna, and I think that's her on the overhead in one of the announcements that says, watch the closing doors, stand back from the doors. But I want somebody else to share with me. She comes through the political dynamics. She plays people in MTA and do those other things. There's a quick couple of things I want to tell you. The vending machines, she manipulating that. They're stealing through that in the vending machines because she's working with MTA. And I could ID her. I'm not afraid of her. The other situation is the turnstiles. They're manipulating the turnstiles coming through MTA employees. When we tap, they say no tap machines. They cut off all the machines. The MTA, the Omni. Trust me, Uncle Sam already knows what's happening. Just to share with you guys that you don't know, I'm gonna hurry up real quick. We got the turnstiles, we got the buses, machines, and I'm a small business person. And the lady Owens, which Mr. Jano told me to contact, she's not answering the phone, and they're trying to stop it from small businesses getting contracts. Honore, I just want you guys, I'm wrapping now, I just want you guys to give me a name so that I can contact you guys and give you further information. And please don't put me on YouTube or any of these things. This is for you. You guys are helping us. I'm here to help you. The end.
Our next speaker will be Monique Johnson, followed by Jesse Figueroa.
Good morning. I want to talk about the accessoride. These are my legs. The accessoride left it outside of the car for 20 minutes, refused to put it inside the car. They tell me they're not supposed to get out and put it inside the car. I also want to talk about the buses. We need to start holding these bus drivers accountable for not stopping and picking up people who have accessibilities. They're not pulling up to the curb. There's so many big gaps. And by the time you walk around or you go to meet the bus leaves. And then when you try to explain the bus, oh, I need help to get down or you need to pull up more, they want to tell us to wait for the next bus. Sometimes people with accessibility are out there 3 or 4 buses go by before they're able to get home to their destination. And it shouldn't be like that. We need to start holding these bus drivers accountable for not pulling up to the curb so people with accessibilities can be able to get on. And I'm also upset about when we went to building 130 in Livingston, there was no accessible bathrooms for people with accessibility. How long had that building been put up to where y'all didn't even have location to where y'all could even take us to the bathroom. I had to send people down to McDonald's for them to be able to use the accessibility bathroom. And it's a shame that 130 don't have it in Livingston. We shouldn't have to go up to the 9th or the 4th floor to use a bathroom. And another thing, accessorize. That YouTube, I always show y'all new videos. I'm never going to show y'all the same videos. They still feel they can ride, watching YouTube and also FaceTime. And we need to get a hold of that because they can injure us.
Please conclude your remarks. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Jesse Figueroa, followed by David Kupperberg.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me and see me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, Mr. President, members of the Joint Transit Committee. My name is Jesse Figueroa, District 1 Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Department of New York. Proud U.S. Army veteran and an accessibility transportation advocate serving as liaison at the New York Harbor VA healthcare system. I'm here today to urge this committee to embed accessibility and rider dignity into every layer of transit governance. Our veterans, seniors, and riders with disabilities face daily barriers, from broken elevators and inaccessible bus stops to inconsistent paratransit coordination. These are not just service issues, they are equity failures that isolate vulnerable New Yorkers. As someone who works directly with veterans, seniors, and riders with disabilities, and coordinates community outreach across multiple organizations, I see how these gaps erode independence and dignity. I ask this committee to ensure that accessibility is not treated as a compliance afterthought, but as a core operational standard reflected in capital planning, procurement, and service audits. I thank you for your service to the people of New York and stand ready to support your mission with lived experience, community insight, and a commitment to ethical leadership. Let's build a transit system that honors every rider's right to move freely, safely, and with dignity. Oh, happy anniversary to Demetrius Critchwell on his first year, and happy 121st birthday to the New York City subway system. Happy Marine Corps birthday coming up. Simplify.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be David Kupferberg, followed by Jean Ryan.
Good morning. My name is David Kupferberg, member Passengers United. As we know, the Queens Bus Network redesign old draft plan was negatively received. At the time, the MTA, in the interest of good public relations, delayed the proposed final plan to craft the new draft plan. The proposed final plan was then crafted, followed by the final plan addendum that was approved by the MTA board. Guess what? The Brooklyn Bus Network redesign draft plan was negatively received. I asked the MTA to do similar for Brooklyn, to delay the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign proposed final plan to craft the new draft plan. At the same time, the MTA should invest 1% of NYCT's budget, or $126 million, for the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign. To delay is to get it right. As I said in the past, bus stop balancing is a mindless implementation of standard practices by the MTA and NYCDOT without the consideration of the effects of their actions. Don't forget that to increase the distance between bus stops negatively impact the elderly and the permanently and temporarily infirmed, for example, someone using crutches due to an injury. Last month, I talked about the restoration of the bus stops in Eastern Queens on Springfield Boulevard and Amboy Lane. They should not have been removed in the first place. The MTA and NYCDOT must be stopped before they could do more damage. I think that we must have similar accommodation for the disabled and elderly for the subway and buses. One elevator not in service, including for long-term repairs, is one too many. I also think that the wholesale reduction of road capacity hinders buses, hence hinders similar accommodation. When we have similar accommodation, we similarly excel. Settle the lawsuit.
Our next speaker is Jean Ryan, followed by Mr. X.
I'm Jean Ryan, President of Disabled in Action of Metropolitan New York, DIA for short. I've been trying to ride express buses for about 25 years, and still I can't ride in the morning because drivers don't reliably know what to do, and I miss meetings and appointments. Coming home, I never know if I will get on at all because of the lifts and seats and drivers filling in and not knowing what to do. The bus could come and it takes an hour to get me on for a 10 or 15-minute trip, or I get left at the curb, or the FDNY has to take me off. That is not accessibility. It is time for New York City Transit and the MTA to face facts and look for a reliable express bus that is not so complicated to use. Otherwise, you are out of compliance with the ADA and other accessibility laws, and you are not accessible to people with mobility disabilities who need to use the lift. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. X, followed by Michael Ortiz. Okay, we're going to move forward with our next speaker, which is Michael Ortiz.
Good morning to the board. I just want to come on here to discuss the possibilities of what could be done to improve the F&M swap that's going to take effect on December 8th, 2025. Um, as of right now, it is looking like we're going to have the F&M swapped, and the M will only run on 63rd Street from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's not going to work, but although it is a step in the right direction, we need more service on the M, specifically on the weekends. The reason why I say that is because the R's by itself during the Queens Boulevard line, and oftentimes the headways are horrible. People there have to be waiting almost 30 minutes for a train because the M isn't there. And for people to wait over 30 minutes on a platform for a train is completely unacceptable. Please consider putting the M to Forest Hills on the weekends to distribute loads better on local service. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Our next speaker will be David Feliciano, followed by Yolanda Allene. Okay, we're going to move forward with Yolanda Allene.
Good morning. Every month, or mostly every month, I complain about stressor ride, also known as accessor ride. And stressor ride is no improvement where stressor ride is concerned. I have a compliment anyway at the end. Well, sometime in September, a woman went to have her chemo treatment done. She was supposed to get picked up at 12:30, and no one came to pick her up. Accordingly, they said she was not there. That is not true. The social worker went downstairs with her to wait for a sister ride. She went downstairs from 12:15, and 12:30 she was still standing. By the time she got home, because she used, when people get chemo, they want to get home. They don't want to be hanging out on the corner or anywhere. They want to get home to get to bed. She uses oxygen also. Can you imagine being treated with chemo, with oxygen, and still can't get home? She did not get home until 4:15. From 12:15 to 4:15. Isn't that ridiculous? Who wants those sort of things? Not anybody. Even when you go to the doctor for a regular checkup, you want to get in and get home. You don't want to be hanging out waiting for somebody to come and pick you up. Okay, my compliment is that for the first time in years, when I went to the U.S. Open, Stressor Ride knew exactly where to pick people up and where to drop them off. That was my compliment. But Stressor Ride needs to be improved in terms of getting people from point A to point B. They're not getting the same type of service when you take the subway or the bus in New York City. And they're the most
Please conclude your
vulnerable
remarks.
population. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Andy Pollock, followed by Christopher Greif.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Andy Pollock, Passengers United. There was no proper notification of me being told I was supposed to speak. But anyhow, couple of things. Number one, I want to discuss the Queens Bus Network redesign. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to eliminate the Francis Lewis Boulevard 58th Avenue bus stop in Bayside, because not only does the Q26 start and end there, before the bus network redesign was implemented, 76 used to stop there. And I used to cut across the Food Emporium parking lot because the traffic when St. Francis Prep gets out, traffic nightmare near Franny Lou and Horace Harding. So can we please restore the Q76 stop there, please? It's a southbound going to Jamaica 165th Street bus terminal. So hopefully that can be reevaluated, because when the Bronx went through with their bus network redesign, people complained and some bus stops got restored. And my last point for this month, I want to talk about the F and the M swap. I'm not happy about it, because if I want to go to Lexington Avenue and 63rd Street, it's going to make my commute a lot longer on weekdays. And especially if I want to go to the Second Avenue stops on the Q, I'm now going to have to change at Bryant Park and take the Q at Times Square. I'm going to have to take the E, Port Authority, and walk on that underground passageway to get to the Q line. So whoever thought of this F and M swap, shame on you, because you're going to hurt people in Queens, especially me, who uses the F on a regular basis to get to various points. So thank you for letting me speak, and I conclude my remarks.
Our next speaker is Christopher Greif.
Good morning. I'm Christopher D. Greif, and as everyone else is already saying, happy anniversary, Demetrius. And it's actually a very good anniversary, because 1 year ago, and it was funny. He was the acting he was acting president. Then he became president during when we had to fix something at 7th Avenue and 9th Street, and it's actually just looking at my Facebook, so it was kind of funny, because it helped a lot of people with disabilities and seniors. Also, I do want to thank our NYPD, because, and I said this at the railroad, because at Jamaica, and this is for DOT, because I do like to remind that bus stops are handled by Department of Transportation, for the record. I want to thank our NYPD and MTA police, because we've seen a lot of cars that do not belong at bus stops, as well as trucks, and yes, they do block Accessoride, so I do thank Accessoride, because these vehicles don't understand that people have to get off and on the bus. Wheelchairs, walkers, seniors, disabled, veterans. And it's not easy for the drivers, because they're trying to get to the curve. At least they can get into 5 feet, then we can get the ramp out. But I thank them, because they ticket them, and yes, they towed a truck. Thank God. But again, we still got to work on the traffic studies along the boroughs outside of the city, because DOT's got to do their part of working on congestion and dealing the safety. And at the same time, also, as we celebrate the 121st birthday of the subways, we got to see what we accomplish in the history. Like today, we have new trains, new buses. Yes, we're getting accessible stations, but we got to remember, being advocating is we have to work together. The future accessibility rides with us. We ride all together, same way we do, elevator ramps and everything. So I hope everyone knows that out there in the world, we must work together. Egos or not, work together as one. Thank you.
Thank you. We're just going to go back on the list again and call David Feliciano.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. All right. We want to talk about this discussion about public safety and security. Just want to let you know that, listen, election day is coming up. So basically, we see increases. Summer's been a hell of what should I say? Spicy, energy, 1,000 degrees of heat, of radical chaos over the summer in New York. So this time I seen this whole crease between crime, racism, equality of life, and also things like that. So I'm gonna put it in perspective. As you know, as a long time youth person, as a long time, New York City school student, I remember these times when I was when time came, those days, I used in, I never jump on the turnstile. I never say F the police, none of that. And those days, but now you look at these times, what is going on in the creases right now, and I'm seeing this every day, are not paying the fare. And then one thing, as a MetroCard ticket final appearance next year, I will say this again. I have a message to all these kids, all these new school kids and old school gens. We're sick and tired of congestion pricing. We're sick and tired of criminal action activities and police activities, and we're sick and tired. Now I'm not talking about white folks in here. I'm talking about everybody, like Hispanic and Black. It don't matter where country you're from or immigrants, wherever your garden is. Or regardless to say, listen, Trump is defunding public transportation system and he's defunding,
Please conclude
congestion
your
prices,
remarks.
and I don't support that. And please remember
Please
this.
conclude your remarks. Thank you. This concludes our public comment session for today's meeting.
Thank you to all our public speakers. Before we move ahead and I entertain a motion to accept the minutes, I too wanted to congratulate Demetrius on his 1 year anniversary. On behalf of everyone here at the Transit Committee meeting, we thank God you're here and we look forward to working with you in the future, and all the best. Okay, Randy, now I'll entertain a motion to accept the October board minutes.
There's no minutes in it.
I'm sorry?
The minutes are missing. The minutes are not in the book.
Frank? He's going to check. Okay, we move on. Demetrius, any changes to the work plan?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. You want to start us off with the president report? Oh, what a great shot. Look at that.
I don't know where to get these photos. It's like so thank you, Hader. This is an important time for me, so I wanted to take a little bit of time just to chat a little bit, to talk about where we were and how we move forward. As many have said, October marks the 1 year anniversary of me being here, but April will be 29 years. So that year had a lot of time tied to it. But I'm not one to put too much stock into occasions, but I do think it's worth doing here so that we can assess the achievements of the team in the past and to take a little time to refocus on where we need to be pointed for the future. Taking the time to ask ourselves, what's the next bar that we need to reach for challenging ourselves to aim higher, deliver more is how we improve and get results that the New Yorkers that we serve deserve. When I took this job 12 months ago, I had two priorities at the top of mind. Everything New York City Transit did, does, and spoke about boiled down to two things: safety and service. How are we ensuring that every employee has a safe tour and every customer has a safe trip? And how are we providing teams with the training, the tools, the schedules, enabled so that they could deliver excellent service? To answer those questions was going to lie in every task that we set out to do. First off, what a year we had. Just amazing accomplishments. For subways, breaking goal and record after record, celebrating milestone after milestone. This month, as Bill will mention a little later on, subways hit 85% on-time performance level. Now that's the best September in modern history. And that's right on par with August, despite having serving many more riders as folks return from vacations and kids headed back to school. That's on top of the fact that we had already celebrated an on-time performance high this year in May when we hit 85.2%, the best non-pandemic record in modern history. If you deliver it, folks will take it. This month, we also hit the 1 billionth subway ride, 3 weeks earlier than we did in 2024. So I might be just a little bit biased, but I firmly believe that this ridership is tied to the fact that we have been delivering better service for customers, and they're responding to the fact that they feel more secure, safe in our system. That, by the way, is no accident. It's due to the hard work of many divisions, like service delivery, car equipment, maintenance away, and that's just to name a few, as well as working with our partners from the NYPD. But it's also due to Transit's harnessing of the vast data pools available to us. Groups like the Performance Analysis Group and the Speed Team, they're using data to make smart decisions about how we run service. Our on-time performance metrics speak for themselves. We also introduced more R211s to more lines, and finally brought these cars to the Bronx, where we placed them on the B line. Staten Island Railway said goodbye to their half-a-century-old fleet when it was placed in, when we placed the R211Ss in service last month. The team also planned and ran incredible alternative service for riders during major outages for capital program work, such as the Crosstown CBTC project on the G. And we kept the Rockaway residents connected to the rest of the region, even when the entire South Channel Bridge and the Hamels Y structure was being replaced last winter on the A. Delivering robust and reliable service for these projects is how we ensure that the public remains engaged and supportive of the work that we have to do. I'll say that one more time. In order for us to continue to provide great service to customers, it can't be just when we're riding on a regular system. When we're delivering these capital projects, service is going to be different. The better we can provide service that's great for them when we have these outages, the more supportive they are going to be of the work itself. Riders need real-time support for long-term goals. Now, for safety, I'm proud to say we've achieved the goals by setting that were set by Governor Hochul. Over the winter, we finished installing cameras in every train car, and we remain on track to install barriers in more than 100 stations. The goal was to do 100 stations. We're on target to do more than that with the barriers. I also can't resist reminding folks that we did this work using in-house teams. We already had the talent and the know-how. It was just a matter of giving them the tools necessary to do the job. Now, on the buses side, the team successfully implemented the redesign of the Queens bus network, a project that was years in the making. And we've continued to roll out ACE, automatic camera enforcement, on more routes. ACE is currently active on 47 bus routes. That's over 775,000 average weekday riders are benefiting from it. ACE-equipped bus routes have experienced an on average of 5% increase in speed, with some corridors seeing gains as high as 30% and a 40% reduction in block bus stops. These routes are also safer. There's been a 20% reduction in collisions. Now, lastly, and certainly not least, paratransit also continues to outdo itself, consistently exceeding the goal of making 94% of pickups within a 30-minute window, and now holding ourselves to the higher standard of making pickups within a 20-minute window. These accomplishments are the result of the hard work of dedicated teams who are rising to the challenge with this 100-year-old system, the challenges that this 100-year-old system presents. Enough pats on the back, though, because we all understand that New York is a forward-thinking city. That was last week. What have you done for me lately? So what are we going to do next? Transit cannot deliver on its promise of safe and reliable service if we neglect any of these. So as I set transit next year on the goals, I keep seeing these 6 in mind: delivering better service, promoting safety and respect, increasing appeal for customers, providing 21st century bus service, achieving financial stability and viability, and strengthening and expanding the network. So we'll break each of these down just for a short minute. I have stated my legacy and my reputation on service delivery. It's what I know, it's what I'm comfortable with, it's a thing that drives me, it's part of my nature. Customers ultimately judge us on whether their train or their bus or their paratransit vehicle shows up when they think it's supposed to, and does it take them to where they need to go. While I'm pleased with the results over the past year, we should always be challenging ourselves to do better, to be better. We'll do that by continuing to utilize the data tools I mentioned earlier to improve service. These data tools have allowed us to better categorize and track the top causes of delays, which means, more importantly, we can attack the cause. That's why we continue to hit new on-time performance records, right? Better understanding of where we see the delays, the better we understand the underlying cause, the more likely we are to improve service related to it. The data-driven approach is what led us to decide to make the first change to the network since 2017, which is swapping the F and M trains between Queens and Manhattan. I am confident that when that change goes into service, when it goes into effect on December 8th, riders will reap the benefits. We'll also deliver top-tier service by centralizing service management at our control centers. This will allow us to better run service and respond to incidents. I'll talk about the bus side a little later on a different slide, but let's speak specifically to subways. As a former deputy line manager on the L line and line manager on the 7 line, I saw myself how much a difference modern signal system makes in the service that we provide. I also saw how critical it is to ensure that transit employees understand the new system of CBTC. So while we continue to support the implementation of CBTC, we're also reviewing how we train our employees on the system so that they are prepared to be good stewards of it. I'm also looking forward to working with our partners in C&D to issue a report by the end of 2026 on how the MTA will bring CBTC to the A division. I'm surprised I didn't get any response on that. I'm also working with C&D to issue a report by the end of 2026 on how the MTA will bring CBTC to the A division. CBTC means smoother, more reliable rides for folks, and we must continue to bring it on even more swaths of the network, including, for the first time, to the Bronx. There's no shortage of people in the Bronx that will benefit here specifically, even though Shanifa's not here. I know she's shouting from the rafters also. An accessible system also means delivering excellent paratransit services too. Last month, the board approved a multi-year contract with a company called RideCo, who will help us to build a 21st century technology platform to support the continued improvements to our paratransit system. The first elements of this new system will come online in 2026. While I'm confident that the team chose a worthy vendor, we verify, we verify, not just trust. So we'll be holding our new partners accountable to deliverables to ensure that customers are seeing continued improvements of efficiency and reliability in every aspect of our paratransit operation, from eligibility to day of service. Riders will only take advantage of the service we provide if they believe it is safe. We'll ensure that by collaborating with the MTA PD, NYPD, and social service partners. We've also been in process of installing brighter LED lights in our stations to create an environment where riders and employees feel safer. We're well on our way to accomplishing that goal, and every station will be retrofitted with brighter lights by the end of 2026. We've also been updating our rolling stock to be equipped with brighter lights to enhance customers' experience, not just in the stations, but onboard trains as well. Have you noticed that the yellowish dim incandescent trains that we used to have are becoming a thing of the past? That is not by accident. We have taken on an initiative to replace all of those with LED bulbs. 87% of the fleet have already been updated with LED bulbs, and you didn't even notice it, right? It just gets brighter. We expect the rest of the fleet to be completed by 2026. Not by the end of 2026. Not only do customers need to feel safe, but employees must also stay safe. Employees should return home in the same condition that they came to work. Now we talked a lot about from a customer perspective when it comes to platform barriers, right? We've talked about the benefits to customers. Customers are telling us that they feel safer in the stations, but it's also it's important to remember that they can protect our employees as well. So we have been intentional with the install of these barriers. Every single barrier that's been placed in stations, there's been a barrier placed in front of the conductor's position at that station. You may not recognize it. But having the additional space between the conductor and the public discourages the behavior of a nefarious actor, right? Just giving them that little bit of space as a conductor pulls into the train, into that station, is able to open his window without having someone standing right there at the position, gives them that added comfort. For bus operators, we'll roll out more fully enclosed bus operator cabs. These compartments are now included in our upcoming bus orders, and I look forward to seeing those delivered. And when assaults unfortunately do occur, we're doing everything in our power to ensure perpetrators are brought to justice. Transit has been working with the MTA headquarters criminal justice advocate and the district attorney offices to track cases and see that perpetrators face maximum penalties. Just last week, I was in court with a train operator who had been stabbed multiple times while he was just trying to do his job a year ago. He was there at the courthouse to see his attacker for the first time as he was supposed to be sentenced. Now, unfortunately, the sentencing was delayed, but we will continue to show up. We will continue to be there for that employee and all others to ensure that they get the justice that they deserve. We've also begun installing cameras at every subway conductor cab as of September. 150 cabs have been outfitted so far. So, when assaults occur, these cameras are vital in ensuring that perpetrators face consequences. I've charged every department head to take another look at what we could do more to fight this fight, because we take seriously every instance where an employee is assaulted, and it needs to change. We've also renewed our focus on employee assaults with discussions with the union and leadership to tackle this issue and to drive down these numbers. It's not just a management issue. This is something that we as a union and management agree on. Now, we are the largest transit agency in North America. There is no reason we can't be at the forefront of the best industry safety practices. In order to achieve this, the team has already expanded key safety initiatives. This includes increasingly requiring more field visits by managers and supervisors to conduct audits, providing specialized inspector training and specified trades. Look, we know that it takes a lot of different jobs and skills to keep this system running. Safety practices aren't a one-size-fits-all. We're also developing new PPE and equipment based on the trends and employee needs, like new types of gloves and flashlights, to name an example of different tools that we're adding. They had them before, but if we could provide a better type of flashlight or better glasses, safety glasses, we're doing that. And we're looking at industry-wide practices and work with regulatory bodies to ensure we're adopting the latest and proven protocols and procedures. I've also asked the safety department to introduce a hotline for employees to share their ideas on what we can be doing better to improve safety practices. Encouraging New Yorkers to become transit customers means not only delivering safe and reliable service, but also communicating better with them. There are a few initiatives on tap to speak directly to this. First, we'll continue to support a smooth transition to tap and ride. Customers have questions, and customers need help. We'll be responding to that need by meeting customers where they are, opening an additional 15 new customer service centers, coming to locations throughout the system by the end of the year, bringing our total to 30 centers. These are being chosen for strategic placement. No matter where you are in the system, there will be a location close by to help. Customer service centers provide 24/7 access to critical services like offering them help in reducing and reduced fare programs, switching to Omni fare payment, and any other help customers need in navigating the system. We'll also review how we communicate directly with others, with our riders, especially during service disruptions, and implement improvements on how we do what we do. Everything from the announcements that are made in the stations to the announcement made by conductors and operators on board trains, on board buses, must be clear and effective messages for customers. And we may need a little help in doing that. Customers also want more accessible service. We'll continue to support building new elevators at more stations. And while every new elevator built in the system is a huge accomplishment worthy of celebration, it is just important to maintain the equipment that we have. Ensure that they are always available to those who need them the most. Our elevator reliability levels have reached impressive highs, regularly staying above 98%, even as we have continued to expand our network of elevators at a record pace. That is not an accident. That is not a happy coincidence. If I've learned anything in my time here, it is that achievements like that don't happen by accident. They don't just land on your doorstep, they are earned. This team delivered these impressive results, these impressive numbers, by recognizing that we needed to be recruiting and training top talent for elevator engineers and maintainers. So we made it a priority to get our employees training programs certified by the city to put it on par with the rest of the industry, ensuring that we would be attracting good candidates. We created our own training program, got that training program approved by the city in order to provide our people with the best skill set necessary to do the job. Our elevator engineering training program has even received national recognition. We didn't just want to establish a program. We held ourselves to the highest standard and we're determined to make it one of the best in the nation. We will also look to expand accessible communication tools like Navilens, Convo Access to reach populations that need enhanced communication to navigate the system. Now, let's talk a little bit about buses. The subway gets a lot of love and a lot of spotlight, but people in this room know that our bus network provides critical service to riders who need it most. We must provide them with 21st century bus service that meets their needs. We'll do that in a few different ways. One, we'll do that by working with our New York City Party administrators, those who are in position to assist our partners to expand the network of busways and bus lanes as well as moving forward on transit signal prioritization efforts. Tools we already know work, and speed up the buses, speed up service. We'll also continue to implement the ACE program more broadly. You already heard how successful ACE-equipped routes are. I also talked about leveraging our command centers to better manage service, and this is especially true for the bus command center. Now, culturally, taking the organization from a primarily incident handling and response-driven organization to being focused on the quality of service that we provide daily is going to take some change, right? From the command center, you have the visibility to see the entire system, right? With information is power. So rather than looking at service and at individual stops or at individual routes, rather looking at service from a more broad perspective, seeing how the entire service is performing, how adjoining routes or routes that are next to them are performing, looking the entire line and seeing what gaps you have in service and how you could better manage the service for customers. All of those are things that we are going to be tasking the team to really, really roll out strongly. So we've already started this work, transitioning 89 routes from the field to the control center for bus for service. We'll continue to strive for providing better service as we strategize on the remaining 250 plus routes. Centralizing our bus routes translates to better communication with customers, more reliable service, and faster response times when incidents do occur. I'm looking forward to launching the next phase of our efforts to redesign the city's bus network, and we'll begin the process of finishing up the bus network redesign initiative citywide. We've completed Staten Island Express, Bronx Local, Queens, and we've got two more boroughs left to go. I also look forward to presenting more information on the results of the Queens bus network redesign next year, when we'll have a significant amount of data to judge and to show the redesign's performance against our service and operational goals. We've already made changes at buses that have greatly improved service just from the summer to September, and that work will continue. Reorganizing the staff and redefining roles will better support service reliability. I've laid out some ambitious, but I believe manageable goals to deliver safe and better service for riders. But this must be done while achieving financial stability and viability. We'll do this by hitting our fiscal baseline reset targets, and we'll do it by increasing fare compliance. One of the items that I am personally looking forward to doing is implementing proof of payment. The team will also continue to install anti-fare evasion infrastructure in all of our subway stations. I'm sure you've all seen by now the enhancements to various fins and sleeves at our fare raids. Well, by the end of 2025, we'll be outfitting the entire system with these devices. All of them that, except those that are going to receive new fare gates. So it's exciting to be there where we know there's going to be results. They're working. Stations with this equipment have experienced a 20 to 30% decrease in fare evasion. A 20 to 30% decrease just by changing the infrastructure at specific stations. So it has proven that it is worth the investment. We'll also expand the reach of the Eagle teams on buses and find ways to implement new technologies to support fare compliance and enforcement. Completing a full transition to Omni will go a long way in the endeavor and allow us to do what many other cities around the world have already done, proof of payment. New technology will make that happen. Now, we'll also continue to identify opportunities for increased efficiencies and negotiate more productive work rules and labor talks. In that vein, while we're taking a look at how we best manage depots to ensure buses are staying on the road and in service for customers, we'll also be analyzing and optimizing maintenance practices to forward that goal. Running efficient service is only possible if we have the necessary employees to operate it. That was a key deciding factor in transitioning to outside workers' compensation management. And why we have looked to ensure workers are being properly and timely serviced by the program. Ensuring that the vendor responds to employees quickly and connecting employees with the medical service they need makes for a better health outcome for employees, as well as reduces their time out of work. Lastly, month after month, we talk about how paratransit has continued to deliver for its riders with truly impressive on-time performance while supporting a growing customer base. But we are providing 21st century paratransit service while still working with 20th century regulations and funding structures. We'll continue to look for ways to make smart and sustainable investments in this service to support its ability to deliver excellent results for riders who need it the most. And during the upcoming budget session, we'll look to pursue legislative action to have New York City cover a more appropriate share of the paratransit costs. Now, not only are we looking at what transit will approach in the next year, but also what transit will do to set up the next 5 years, next 10 years for New York City Transit. Supporting the capital plan, enabling our C&D partners to accomplish this transformational work is a real priority for me. I want to remind everyone just how unique this system is. I think as New Yorkers, we can take the fact that our trains run 24/7 for granted, right? Great system, no matter what time of day or weekend you want to go ride the system is there. But that creates an immense challenge for us to find opportunities to carry out the work, whether it's maintenance or replacement work as part of the capital plan, right? It's hard to be able to manage the conflicting priorities of providing great service while you're doing work on the same tracks that folks have to operate on. I'm determined to not let our mission to deliver reliable service that gets folks where they need to go at all hours of the day be the enemy of accomplishing the work that ensures the system continues to run. We can and we must do both. It might be a little harder than walking and chewing gum at the same time, but nevertheless, the sentiment stands. And we will do this by upgrading subway stations and power equipment across the system. These are the updates to infrastructure that will prevent some of the biggest disruptions to service that we've had this year. Customers experienced them over the last 12 months. We're looking to replace those assets. We'll also support critical projects like Nostrand Avenue interlock and improvement project and other key interlockings and signals. The more work we focus on improving the critical junctions where our service meets, the better service that we can provide along that corridor. This is a classic example of what all of the MTA have been talking about regarding this capital plan. Interlockings and signals, they're not the flashiest things, not the most exciting thing to talk about, but they are how you get the system to operate well. It is the way that we provide timely service. It is the way that you remove bunching. It is the way that you prevent your conflicts in service. Looking at these interlockings and switches is the key to providing smooth service. Now, our job at Transit is to ensure that customers are and are still getting where they need to go around the duration of these projects. Like I said earlier, the team already proved we could do this from the crosstown CBTC work on the G and in the Rockaways, but we must continue to do so. And I'm sure that customers are most excited for what will be prepared to receive deliveries of new buses and rolling stock. Now, my mouth is actually dry because that was a lot to talk about. There were a lot of goals I just laid out, but being mindful about hitting and in some cases surpassing them is how transit will forward our mission of providing great, safe, and reliable service. Thank you to my incredible team for all that you do and taking on this mission with me and serving the millions of New Yorkers who rely on this transit system day in and day out. The team has a lot to be proud of. The things that we've accomplished have been pretty amazing to date, but I look forward to the more that we can do. Success does not come from waiting for the right opportunity. We create them. And folks don't magically improve their work. We do better because we decide to. Today, we are creating an opportunity to focus, recommit, and set new challenges to overcome. And I'm asking everyone on this transit team to decide it's time once again to do better. And I know we can.
Great.
All right. Any questions for me before I turn it over to Bill?
So before I take the questions, I just wanted to thank you, Demetrius, for laying out what incredible work has happened over the last year in transit and all the great things that we look forward to doing together as a team. You and your entire team here should be very, very proud.
Thank you.
Any questions for Demetrius? Dan, Midori, Lisa, and then we have to do one housekeeping before we go over to Bill with this funky tie.
Great. Thanks, Heda. Demetrius, congratulations on your 1 year and 26 other years. 29.
Shorten me the time.
Amazing.
Shorten me.
I had two questions. One of them was about communications-based train control, and the other was about the platform barriers. On CBTC, there was money allocated in the capital budget for CBTC from 25 to 29, and it included pieces along the network, which I believe included the A train that you were talking about studying by the end of 2026. Can you just, or the report have it coming out by the end of 2026, can you just say where that all stands and put that comment about the A train in the context of the broader capital plan?
So we started CBTC in portions of the A line. The study that we talked about is actually going to be the A division, which are your numbered lines from 1 to 6, right? So CBTC is replacing signals. We recognize that the signals on the A division, the numbered lines, have been a challenge for a little bit, but you can't replace the signals without looking at the fleet that has to be replaced, so that's part of it as well, which is why we wind up rolling out all new cars on the A train, A line, and the C line to be able to allow for CBTC on those lines.
I see. So A line underway, A division study by end of 2026. Okay, got it. On the platform barriers, 70 stations, you noted more comfort for conductors, having a little distance. Do we have any other information, data to indicate how it's working other than anecdotal? Do we have any stats or anything? It may be too early, I don't know, but I was wondering if you had anything else.
Yeah, so it's interesting because generally you stop hearing complaints, and that's the reason you know you're doing better. The only thing that we do have is we have we included specific questions in our customer surveys. And so customers are actually saying that the barriers do make them feel more safe while they're in the system, give them something to stand behind. But I could definitely get you some more specifics on the questions that we asked in the customer feedback questions that are specific to barriers.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like we have survey responses,
yes,
but no specific MTA measured data about whether it's somebody who's fallen into the tracks or things like that. None of that yet, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Compared to what it might have been in the past.
Yeah, it's mostly tied to what we've been hearing from the feedback.
Okay. All right. Well, we'd love to see that, and thank you, and congrats again.
Thank you, Demetrius, for the presentation. On the bus command center, what do you think is going to be kind of the major benefit of integrating all of the bus routes there? And I don't know if the board has done a tour of the bus command center, and if not, I'd like us to do that because I think there's nothing like seeing it in action, and it's such an operational change and shift. So I would love to hear more about what technologies you're actually deploying at the bus command center that would actually improve service.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, so you're definitely, we can certainly set up a tour of the bus command center. I'll just take it back to subways. Anyone that remembers subways used to be, the control center used to be at J Street. They focused on incident response, right? Contacting police respond, but the service happened at different locations along the roadway. Towers, dispatcher locations along the roadbed. When you are at a tower or central location, you focus on the trains that are coming to you and the trains that are leaving away from you. But you don't necessarily look at the entire line and say, end to end, what's the best move to make for service? when we rolled in the new control center, and we implemented not just incident response, but service management. You do regulation of service, your headways. You look at there's an incident happening. How do I provide service to other corridors?
Things like
and
bus bunching is something that we'll
Right.
focus on, I would hope.
So we've
Yeah.
done that on the rail side to focus on
Okay.
it, and now the same intent will be on
Okay.
the bus side. We have tools in place where you can actually see all of the buses on your route,
Yeah.
all of them. You can see end to end what gaps there are in between the buses. This bus has a 20-minute gap in between it and its leader. One is for investigation. Why is that bus operating 20 minutes late? Why did that bus take so long to turn at the terminal location? What do we need to do to be able to provide for the customers in between? Can we put an additional bus in? Do we need to skip a couple of stops? How heavy is that bus operating, right? So the more you have for information to be able to manage the service at the bus level, the better service you can run. So I'm actually, I said service delivery is it's like my passion.
Yeah.
This is like something that's really exciting, a place that we can go where folks are focusing on the big picture, finding out what that right balance of routes that you can manage, watch and see. I have 10 routes, I have 7 routes, I have 6 routes, whatever that number is, but end to end saying, I need to take that bus right there needs attention right now. Not just because it's in that small segment or it's passing me at this moment, but looking at the overall service and saying, the Bronx isn't doing right well. There's a lot of gaps in service. What do I need to do to address that specific issue that could be more regional as opposed to line-based or route-based?
And Chair, I have a second question, if that's okay. So you've talked about Eagle teams, you've talked about gate guards, you've talked about kind of products on the fare array, physical products. I would love to see an analysis, and I'm requesting one officially, of the return of investment on that, because I hear that, generally it's done good. But, as we know, personnel, it costs money. Contract personnel costs money. So really just want to see year over year ROI on the operating expenses that get invested into fare evasion and what we are estimating as the revenue quote clawback, because I think it's just more difficult as we want to make bigger decisions like the platform barriers. We don't have endless money, so just wanted to check in on the ROI. Thank you.
So I just want to address that. It's a great point. One thing I will say is, and I'll just use the example of the gate guards, for example, we spent a fair amount of time every month evaluating what ROI looked like, right? What locations that we did the calculation, a gate guard has to stop 125, I don't know, it's 125 or 30 fare evaders in order to pay for itself. So literally going to locations and saying, are you getting that 125 to 130 people? Are they being stopped at that location, which allows for you to better manage those resources? And if the location only has 40, 50, it may still be a good location to have the people there, but it's not going to be there for fair compliance or improving your ROI. So that was a key element for us to look at rolling out. But I will say we're also doing some evaluation right now because we know we have delayed egress coming at many of the locations. You add delayed egress to a location, it will change customers' behaviors. How much is the impact of having a gate guard on top of that? And now it may still have some benefit, but it will not be as ROI positive as it was minus the delayed egress. So making some decisions around that as well. So you're definitely spot on. We'll show you what we have.
Lisa, before David has to go chair another meeting, so I just wanted to go back to making a motion to accept the minutes, but I just want to explain to everyone that the minutes were not given to the wonderful Kate DeSanto from the legal division to be put online, and neither were the procurement packages. So Lou, you're going to have to make copies and give them to everybody. So I think everyone got a copy of the minutes. Before David has to leave, can I just entertain a motion to accept the minutes? You have an edit. Okay. Give me an edit.
On page 5, under number 5, I should say, Bill Amoroso's name is misspelled.
Okay. Frank, you got that? Okay. We're going to make a motion, we're going to make a note to change that. Randy?
I was at the meeting and my name is not shown.
I'm sorry?
I attended.
Okay.
and
Okay. So we also have to add Randy's name under attendance. And Melva. Melva and Randy were both there. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Frank, you got all that? All right, got it. Okay. After all those changes are made, can I entertain a motion before we lose our members to accept the minutes? Okay, second. Okay. All those in favor? Great. Thank you. All right. Go to your meeting. Lisa, you have a question. Thank you, everyone.
Quick one, going back to the barricades for the subway. Is that a pilot on the style of those barricades? I haven't seen them a lot. I saw one, but I saw kids hanging on it because it sits low. So I'm just curious if this is a permanent style we're using, or this is a test run.
So we've done different ones. We had a yellow barrier. Thank you. A yellow barrier, which we moved away from. The ones that we're currently installing are stainless steel.
Right.
Made in-house, done in-house by the team. So we believe that this is the final design.
Okay.
But happy to look at the specific scenario if people are
Yeah, I
using
just
them.
find them low. Maybe it's just for me, but, kids will find a way to play around with them. And then second, do you have a list, because I always go back to the Bronx, a list of where these barricades presently are?
Yep.
Thank you. And happy anniversary. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Those are the procurements we're being mailed out right now. Given out right now. Okay, so we move on. Bill, you want to update us?
Sure. Good morning, everyone, and happy Subway Day. The reason for the funky tie is in honor of the Subway's 121st birthday. The first line ran from City Hall up to Grand Central, across to Times Square, then north to 145th Street. So I was out at Grand Central this morning, greeting customers and train crews and other staff at the station, celebrating Subway Day, and it was a fun event and a good chance to get out and celebrate some history. Piggybacking on President Critchlow's remarks, September performance was very strong. Typically, if you look at the seasonality of performance, August is our strongest month, and we usually decline a little bit in September as ridership increases. This month, September was on par with August results. We were only 1/10 of a point difference in each of the three metrics. The 85% we hit for weekday OTP was the highest September in modern record keeping. So we're continuing that pattern of really strong performance as the year goes on. Weekend service also remains strong, and weekday CJTP, which is the measure of customer trips rather than train trips, was 85.8%. So we're paying attention both to the operational metrics and the customer metrics. Elevator and escalator reliability were also very strong. Elevators were at 98.3%. Which was an increase from August. We opened our first of the new 15 customer service centers at Grand Central last month. Even with a soft open, that's already become one of our busiest locations. So our station agents and customer service agents are doing a great job helping with MetroCard to Omni transfer transactions, reduced fare applications, and providing information to our customers. We've also completed several very large renovations, including Grand Central Station, Forest Hill 71st Avenue in Queens, and 59th Street in Brooklyn. Those improvements included ceiling and column painting, LED lighting conversions, concrete floor repairs, wall tile replacements, and deep cleaning of those stations. I was out at Clark Street the other night watching some of the ceiling painting going on, and it makes a huge difference when you get that solid paint without any of the paint chips. It makes a very big difference in the customer experience, so we're glad to have made those improvements. I also want to talk a little bit about planned work. As President Critchlow mentioned, we have to have that right balance of providing frequent, reliable service and getting work done. And on the 7 line, we were faced with a situation that work needed to be done in an area that required us to run a train service from Flushing to 74th Street and a combination of buses and parallel subway lines to carry riders along the rest of the route. this is something that could have been extraordinarily disruptive to customers. So we did two things. First is we put Hugo Zamora and our weekend service coordination team on the job of making sure that we had the right people out there and the right types of employees to assist customers. So there were managers and supervisors from service delivery, station agents, wayfinders, traffic checkers from operations planning, NYPD, and partners from all around New York City Transit and the MTA, helping customers navigate the transfer from the 7-line platform to the EF and R platform below. There were people out assisting customers on the shuttle buses and making sure that was a smooth transfer. And we had customers out at the closed stations making sure that everyone knew where the alternate service was. If anyone has been to that station in Jackson Heights, it is an extraordinarily busy station on an ordinary day. And when I was out there, the entire 7-line would offload riders onto that platform. And with the amount of wayfinding and customer information we had, everyone knew where to go. Everyone moved calmly down the stairs to make their transfer. New riders would board the train, it would move out, and another train would come in. It was really, really impressive. Particularly want to thank Hugo, also Line Superintendent Allison Worrell, who does an amazing job running the 7-line, and the entire team that was out there taking care of customers that weekend. The second thing we do is get as much work done as possible when we have a service change of that size. So there were 23 separate jobs going on, including third rail improvement work, platform replacements at 69th Street and 52nd Street stations, structural improvement work at Woodside, continuously welded rail installation near Times Square, and then a series of other projects. So that was one of our most productive weekends. So we took care of our customers, and we took care of a lot of work so that an outage of this size doesn't need to happen very frequently. That's my report for subways, and I'll turn it over to Frank for buses.
Great. Andrew has a question. Go ahead.
So I'm always on the system on the weekends, and there's lots of GOs, as you just mentioned, and it couldn't be more important in such a complicated system that we have the right signs and the right announcements. I'm always sending you, for instance, the 4 and the 5 didn't go to Fulton, didn't go down as far as Fulton Street this past weekend, yet all the train announcements were the same. No, the conductors did not come on. What are we doing to make sure that the conductors are using these scripts that they've been issued since the Byford days?
Yeah, we issue the scripts every weekend. So we ensure that the conductors have those scripts and they're aware of what changes to make, and that everything is programmed in properly or a manual announcement is made. When we get a report of an inappropriate announcement, those crews are critiqued and re-instructed. If it's a crew member that has made that error multiple times, we may take more strict action. And I've charged the service delivery team with giving me a plan by next week on what's being done to reinforce that messaging, because we want to make sure that we get the correct messaging out to our customers.
That's great. And I should also point out that the new countdown clocks that have been installed in various stations are much more readable and much more accurate than the older ones. So keep going in that direction. Those are great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Frank, is this your first committee meeting?
Second.
No, but first as, it's second?
Yeah.
I thought Chris was still,
He was here last week. Last month.
no, I know you were here last month, but I thought Chris, anyway, forget it. I blew it. I wanted to make
it's
an
fine.
analogy.
It's
Anyway,
fine.
nice to see you, Frank. You want to give us an
Thank
update?
you. Sure. Before getting into the bus performance, I'd like to highlight some recent progress expanding the automated camera enforcement program. On October 13th, 4 additional routes, the BX2, BX22, M96, and the M116 were activated in the Bronx and Manhattan, bringing the ACE coverage to a total of 47 routes. The 60-day warning period is now in effect. During this period, any vehicles blocking the bus lanes, bus stop, or double parked vehicles will be issued a warning, ensuring drivers are well informed before they start receiving fines. The ACE program continues to support improvements in bus speeds and contributes to safer conditions for all road users and more accessible boarding for people with disabilities. For the bus performance, September was a challenging month for buses. This is a trend we consistently see, and this year there really was no exception. with a range of seasonal activities and major events, the school reopening, 9/11 Memorial, the UN General Assembly, and customers returning from summer vacations all contributed to an increased traffic and congestion around the city. Dignitaries moving throughout the city, frozen zones, traffic rerouting, and it's inevitable to have those conditions impact some of our service and our performance metrics. On these days and events, we saw a large decline in customer journey time performance, which contributed to overall month-over-month drop in performance of 6.9% from August. The increased congestion also led to slower speeds, with the bus speeds averaging 8.1 miles per hour. That's a 3.6% decrease from August. However, even with the usual seasonal increase in service demands and the surge in 15% bus ridership, our team stayed focused and maintained August scheduled service levels, delivering 93.7% of service. Comparing September to the same period last year, the results are also encouraging. Service delivery from last year increased by 3.3%, the customer journey time was up 3.1%, and the average bus speeds improved by 2.5%. Additionally, key metrics continue to trend upward on a 12-month average. Now, I'd like to talk about a couple of the board inquiries from last month, the Bronx performance. Service delivery on the identified Bronx routes has improved since July. While still below the borough average, the trend is moving in the right direction, most notably on the BXM6 and BXM10, which saw a 50% increase in service delivered from July to September. The other four routes mentioned, the BX5, 20, 23, and 39, also seen an increase of average of 9%. Overall, Bronx performance is also better since July to September, showing a 3.8 increase in service delivery and a 33% increase in MDBF since July. The Bronx team continues to closely monitor operations and make adjustments. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll be deploying new articulated buses to further support the improvements to the borough. So it's very exciting to get these new buses. We're looking forward to it. Yeah. Regarding the B68 in Brooklyn, while performance has improved since March, we see a rise in bunching in September. So we're keeping a close eye on it. We have the team, laser focused on the headways and making better real-time decisions, utilizing the BCC, our bus control center, and our road operation folks. While we've made some improvements, the numbers, they still aren't where we want them to be. The work doesn't stop. We know there's more to do to strengthen service and improve bus reliability. Every day, more than 2 million riders count on us to deliver safe, reliable service across New York City. And that commitment never wavers, even in the months marked with high-impact events and complex road conditions. Thanks to our team's laser focus on service continuity and the dedication of the 12,000 bus operators who show up, rain or shine, through traffic or detours to keep New Yorkers moving. That concludes the buses update for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. We're going to move on to Rachel in Paratransit.
Good afternoon, everyone. September was, as always, a very busy month for paratransit as well, with the return to school, the UNGA, and continued program growth. We completed more than 950,000 trips in September for more than 1.3 million riders, and both of those numbers are very consistent with our year-to-date trends. As Frank mentioned, right, September always brings the challenges around traffic and street conditions, and this year on the paratransit side, we did see a slight dip in our OTP, about 2 percentage point drop from August to September when we measure the 30-minute on-time performance window. However, I would note that our OTP remained well above our 94% goal. Our dedicated carriers showed improvement over September of 2024, and our brokers continue to consistently meet and exceed our on-time performance goals, with over 90% of trips still picked up in the 20-minute window in the month of September. And we do not take any of the street conditions or return to school as an excuse. We continue to work every day with our service providers to ensure that our schedule provides reliable and timely trips for all of our customers across the board. I would note our weekend ridership continues to show strong growth as well, which is consistent with the system-wide trends we're seeing in the rise of discretionary non-commutation trips, which is why it's especially encouraging to see that our weekend OTP remained consistent August to September this year, with just under 94% of trips picked up in the 20-minute window. Finally, I'm happy to share that we are just on the precipice of completing the Omni transition for paratransit customers. So we are finishing the distribution of Omni cards to all of our customers in the coming weeks. For paratransit customers, the Omni card will serve both as their ID for their paratransit trips and their tap and ride card when they use the subway or bus. And it'll be the first time that Access-Ride customers can choose to travel without carrying exact change. We're excited to see Access-Ride customers join the contactless payment era, and we're working closely with our customers and our partners to ensure a smooth transition, including for the pre-tax programs that we know have been a concern at this committee. And those will be included in the Omni era. That concludes the paratransit update for this month. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Rachel. Any questions for Rachel? If not, we move on to Bernard on ridership.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be briefly here, just recapping some of the ridership numbers from September, which included the UN General Assembly, the U.S. Open, back-to-school activity, and a whole host of other signature fall events in New York City. Our ridership numbers reflected that September was another great month for ridership for New York City Transit. We saw a new post-pandemic high for average weekday paid subway ridership. We recorded the first week since the pandemic in which all 5 weekdays saw a paid subway ridership surpass 4 million riders. This actually happened 2 weeks in a row. During those 2 weeks, all midweek days, Tuesday through Thursday, saw ridership greater than 4.4 million riders. As expected, year-over-year trends were more modest compared to the growth seen from September 2024 through August 2025. This is because the additional boost to ridership from Student Omni is now in the baseline of year-over-year comparisons. In that context, the 4% weekday growth for Subway is encouraging and represents the continual recovery of activity in New York City and continued confidence in the transit system. On the bus side, as Frank mentioned, the year-over-year comparisons were stable, with paid weekday ridership at 1.48 million, a 0.7% higher than last September of 1.47 million. Total ridership paid plus estimated unpaid stands at 2.7 million. That's incredible. Paid school open midweek days are higher at 1.53 million, but the pattern of bus ridership throughout the typical week is flatter than on subways, as the bus market has a much smaller share of office workers with the option of working from home. For paratransit, as Rachel mentioned, ridership continues to grow at a historic pace. In September, paratransit saw a total ridership of 1.35 million, which represents a 16% increase from last year. On weekdays alone, average daily ridership last month was more than 50,000 riders, a 14% increase from last year. That concludes the ridership report, and I will now turn it over to President Critchlow, and happy 1-year anniversary in your role and the other 28 plus years to go along with that as well. Thank you.
Demetrius, you want to
Sure.
continue?
Every few months, we like to take some time out of our committee agenda and to highlight the good work of the team and the accomplishments of our employees. This month, we received so many people. I mean, a lot of folks. And I mean, it's a great thing because it is a reflection of how much good work is happening throughout the system and through these teams. Due to time constraints, I'm going to just announce the individuals who are receiving this recognition. I would ask that these individuals stand up to be recognized, and then I will move to the next name.
And all their bios are in the great
Yes.
report, so it's nice to read about it. Anyway, go ahead.
I am,
Sorry.
I am in advance going to jack up some names, so I'm just saying it. Don't be mad at me. All right, for paratransit, we have Amoris Dellerby. On the Department of Security, we have Deborah Bynum and Jose Matthew. For the Department of Buses, we have Julio Rosales, Diego Ojeda, Michael Agard, Brian Bland, Julio Beal, Christopher Shattuck, Dennis Flynn, Joseph Pinto, Jeffrey Say, and Carl Walsh. From the Department of Subways, we have Ray McKee, Akila Sturkey, I'm just going to say Zen Macaulay Hall, George Santos, Daisy Mendez, Edwin Marrero, Robert Sarno, Ravi Ganpat, and Robert Hermel. Thank you all for your work.
And congratulations, everyone. Stay tuned. We take a picture afterwards. We just have a couple more things on the agenda. I think we're now we're moving on to the crime report. Chief Shine is here because Chief Galata had a previous engagement. Chief, thank you for sticking with us, and if you can please give us this month's report.
Sure. Good afternoon, Chair Mahaltis, President Critchlow, and members of the board. I'm Deputy Chief Keith Shine, Executive Officer of the Transit Bureau, and Chief Galata had asked me to update the committee today on his behalf. You have before you the crime figures for the month of September. Last month, the subway system saw 158 crimes, which reflects a 16.8% reduction, with 32 less incidents when compared to last September. This reduction is largely driven by a decrease in both grand larcenies, down 25%, and felony assaults, down 18%. Looking at the year as a whole, from January through the end of September, the subway system has seen a 4.2% reduction in crime, from 1,648 incidents last year to 1,578 incidents this year, which reflects a drop of over 70 crimes. As always, this continued downward trend in crime is due in large part to the hard work of the men and women of the Transit Bureau. Our officers remain committed to doing the work that our riders deserve by taking proactive steps to ensure a safe and orderly subway system. This year alone, officers have made over 24,000 arrests, reflecting a 44% increase, or over 7,400 more arrests when compared to 2024. While arrests for felonies and misdemeanors have seen an increase, it is the uptick in violation arrests that merits attention. As you know, seemingly minor unlawful acts weigh heavily on our riders' minds and can greatly impact the quality of their subway journey as well as their perception of safety. That is why the increase in violation arrests is notable, because the overwhelming majority stem from officers confronting highly visible acts of lawlessness on our riders' behalf. Maintaining a sense of order and civility within the subway system is and will remain a top priority of our officers. That concludes my remarks. Thank you for having me today. I look forward to working with everyone, and I'll take any questions or comments if you have them.
Thank you, Chief. And I was happy to hear about the decrease of the 16% decrease you said, year over year? Or was it?
Correct.
Okay,
4%
great.
year over year.
4% year over year. I'm sorry, I thought it was 16. But thank you. Any questions for Chief? Okay. If not, we move on. Lou, you're going to tell us about the procurements, but unfortunately...
You want me to be brief? Or?
Yeah, just be brief, but we're not going to be able to vote because we don't have a quorum because
Oh,
everyone
okay.
else went to the other committee.
All right, so we have two procurement actions this month. The first is for a pre-priced parts agreement with NFI Parts. This covers various replacement parts identified as obtainable only from or through NFI, which are required for the New York City Transit and MTA bus company to maintain their respective fleets of buses comprised of New Flyer, Orion, and MCI bus fleets. NFI is the sole distributor and reseller for these, the companies I've mentioned for these parts. They've taken over proprietary rights over the years. The award is the first time that we're making an award to NFI for a price agreement. And the advantage that this gives us is mostly on the administrative side of not having to go out and solicit each item individually. And we've had successes on other major manufacturers with Wabtec, Knorr, Mitsubishi, and we're presently working with Alstom to have these types of agreements in place. This actually afforded a price decrease for the parts for MTA bus, so this is a success. The second item, and I'm very excited about this, is the request for the board to approve a contract, the modification of a contract with Motive Power. It's a Wabtec company, and it's to purchase an additional 45 diesel battery hybrid hybrid locomotives. The base contract was awarded in 2000 for 25 locomotives, and the key point associated with this procurement is that the locomotives are for work purposes, and they can operate, obviously, with the full tractive power needed for any task in the system, but most significantly, they could operate on battery power when in tunnels and tubes, addressing the issues associated with emissions in those areas for our workforce. So this was a real success. The base contract, again, 25 diesels that we've diesel hybrids that we've received 12 of already that are functionally operating acceptably. They're replacing older fleets of locomotives. Some of them are beyond their 35-year useful life. And delivery of locomotives will take place in May of '27 and complete by September of '29. The price was established when we awarded the base competitively, and there's a formula for escalation and the elimination of non-recurring engineering. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. We're going to vote, I guess, on Wednesday because we don't have, and we can't even vote to adjourn. But what we're going to do is take a picture with all the great Transit All-Stars. So thank you, everyone. This meeting stands, I guess, in adjourn. I don't even know. Whatever. Stay tuned. Thank you. This concludes the meeting.